a couple things that are in that meeting packet that I've done since essentially we last met as a larger group was summer conference, right? So in July, I also attended the Region 6 virtual conference. We had a one-day event for that. Darla was also there, so we shared some stuff from our state with the region. In August, a couple different meetings, the Pennsylvania FFA board meeting. Darla, Nick, and I kind of met to get Nick all set up to kind of take on his new role as executive secretary for us. And then Darla and I also met with Scott, and essentially that was our planning and kind of started that State of Ag Ed webinar that took place then in October, if you jump down to that. In September, I did send a letter out to all of the Pennsylvania ag teachers, so hopefully everyone got theirs. It had membership information, but it was also to kind of promote that State of Ag Ed webinar. And just kind of, you know, in this craziness that is the start of everyone's school year, make sure you guys know that like PAAE is kind of here for you. And if you guys need anything, please reach out to myself, to Darla, to David, you know, or anyone else on the board or whatnot. We'd be more than happy to try to help out in any way that we can. And again, if you didn't get that letter, please let me know so that I can either send you a copy of the membership form or share that letter with you if you're interested. We had our board meeting. I also attended the Foundation's golf outing on behalf of PAAE. Nick included a copy of this executive committee resolution authorizing response to COVID-19 down further so you can actually see that document. I did want to touch base on this because basically all that is allows us to give us the like virtual needs to conduct business. Currently, most bylaws, and ours included, did not have any stipulations in there to really be doing stuff in a virtual manner, to conduct elections, to actually vote and do business and that such in this time for COVID. So we just kind of took what Dr. Foster, actually, I reached out to him, he gave me something from Iowa State, and we just adapted that for Pennsylvania. So that's what that document is, and the board took action on that, so that way we can at least get through this and technically have, you know, I's dotted, T's crossed for conducting business, okay? If you have any questions about that, let me know. We obviously elected our president-elect position then, so I was coordinating with that. So kind of congratulations to Dave Steinfeld. He's joining us here for a little bit tonight. So we're happy to have him on the team here with us now. And then also participated in an Ag Ed Commission meeting. They actually had a teacher panel, and I know Jody was on there with myself and Sharisa, and then Tiffany Turrentine. So we kind of shared what's happening with each of our schools. And then I presented a report for PAAE as well, so that the commission knows what we're doing as an organization. And then lastly, I'll touch on the policy and bylaws. I met with Carly and Darla, and we just kind of talked about like a time frame for kind of getting that revision process finalized. They had a good start on it at summer conference, and the revisions are looking really good. But we're hoping then to have kind of a first draft of revisions to the board for January. And then probably by spring meetings, we'll have something for you guys to review and give us feedback on as far as the members. And then hopefully vote on a new policy and bylaws. Sorry, not moving enough in my classroom. I gotta do the wave, sorry. And we'll have that for summer conference to actually approve a new, you know, policy and bylaws manual for us. So I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions about any of those events or things that we've been doing? All right, thank you guys.
All right, if there are no questions for Casey, we'll move on to Darla's report.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to see all of you again since we were last together in July. I miss not getting the chance to travel out to Western PA. When I came out last fall, it was just like a nice change of pace to see everyone in person, but we had to deal with this for a little bit longer, I guess. I'm so sorry. So the last time that we met, I kind of gave you a quick update about where we were with kind of like the state of affairs, like getting things filed with our taxes and proxy fees and things like that. So since we last met, I'm going to pull up my report because I don't want to misspeak. I did receive a letter in August that gave us what our adjusted, like what our payments were for the fiscal years 2015 and 2017. So our abatement letter was successful, which is super duper awesome. So instead of paying $1,016 for one of those years as a failure to file penalty, we only paid $250. And then for the other year, we were supposed to pay $692 and we only paid $89.25. So we really thank Boyer and Ritter, our accountant, for all of the work that they've done on their end, writing those abatement letters and then following up and advising us what the best course of action to take is. So if you've been following this saga for a couple of months here, you'd remember that there are 4 years that we are working with. So as of now, 2 years are completely closed out. I received another letter that says, okay, here's like the final amount due for like the other 2 sections. We wrote another abatement letter and we'll probably have to wait until January or February to know what the final amount due for those years are. So we are like 50% there. It's been a long process. COVID really stalled out and kind of drug it out longer than we anticipated, but the IRS knows that we are trying to do the right thing and they kind of rewarded us for that by not making us pay the full penalty fee. So I thought that was rather successful. So now as the organization moves forward, I'm just really going to encourage everyone to really think about what our lobbying needs are. How do we want to move forward with this now that we know what the rules are and how we can get a lobbyist to advocate for our needs, but then not be in a situation that we necessarily were before, now that we know the proxy taxes and things of that nature. So just keep thinking about that. And when the exec team reaches out for your thoughts on that, we need to know your thoughts, because we've been a year, probably a little bit longer than that, without a lobbyist. But is that something that we want to pursue moving forward? So we need input as the board so we can represent your interests well. And other than that, just representing you guys at the Region 6 conference, like Casey said. And then I also did a presentation for the new and beginning teachers, encouraging them to take advantage of their first year free in PAAE and just getting them used to what like a professional organization can offer. And all of this year's current student teachers were on the Northern Region meeting last week. So that was really good to see some of them and to see a bunch of those first year teachers just kind of getting into the profession. So other than that, thank you so much, Laura. And if you have any questions, anyone can feel free to email me or chat. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Darla. And David is on the call. So David, if you have anything as our president-elect.
Not really at this time. Just thank you for you guys giving me the opportunity to try to step into a different role here as we move forward. And then the same echo of what Casey and Darla said. If there's anything I can help you with, just feel free to reach out.
Thank you. We're excited to have you. And Brian Campbell with our treasurer's report. You are up.
Okay, glad to see everybody. First thing is, you can see our balances in the accounts. We're doing very well. The one thing I will tell you as far as the scholarship checking is concerned, probably within the next week or so, have a call in to M&T Bank to get an appointment to sit down and talk with them. But as it stands right now, the scholarship checking basically has checks written out of it once a year. And at this point in time, M&T Bank is charging us $10 a month because we don't write enough checks out of the account. So I believe what's going to happen is we are going to I am going to close the scholarship checking account, move all the money over into the scholarship savings account. And then when we hand out scholarships each year, I will transfer money out of the savings account into our checking account to cover those scholarships. It just doesn't make any sense to spend $120 a year in fees to write out checks for $1,500. So that's the plan this time. I'm waiting for them to call me back with an appointment. And as soon as I get that appointment, that change will probably be made. But other than that, the balances are doing very well. Dues are coming in. I also included a profit and loss statement for you. You can see we're in the negative at this as of October 2nd, only because we've paid our first round of PAAE dues, and we also got the bill for our first round of back taxes to Boyer and Ritter. So hopefully sooner or later that will take place and be, you know, I foresee the account being in the black here very soon. The next item is, Darla already talked about the back taxes. Great news for us. Hopefully by next February, that'll all be behind us as well. The next item, there's a final decision. I got a final decision from M&T Bank on the fraudulent check case that we had last November. When I figured everything out and called M&T Bank, they put a stop payment on that cashier's check, which legally is against the law because it is a cashier's check and it says the funds are guaranteed. Therefore, they had to release that fraudulent or that stop payment and pay the check. So it was one of those things that it's very unpleasant, especially for me, to have something like that happen. But it did bring about something that our organization didn't have any checks and balances in our system, to a point that because of that, I've come up with a voucher system. I included a payment voucher with all the information that you should have gotten for the meeting, that if you need reimbursed for anything or need a check sent to you for anything, you need to send me a receipt with the voucher, and I will then mail the check out to you after I receive everything that's necessary. It was just one of those things that I received. Like I said, last November, I received what I thought was an email from Darla. When I emailed back and got information back from whom I was talking to, everything seemed very up and up. And then received another email from Darla, from the real Darla, and then that sent everything in motion. But we were just an hour or two too late to get everything stopped. So because of that, we're going to run with this voucher system. If you have any questions, you can email me questions about it, or text me. You have my phone number. I'll be glad to walk you through it and make sure everything gets taken care of. I also included an invoice that I'll be using if any money is owed to the organization. I'll be using that to mail that out. Dues are coming in slowly but steady. I just got to say a third round, I believe, of checks from Darla. I'll be depositing those tomorrow. And the only other thing that I have is our 2019 taxes have been filed and we owe nothing. So we're up on our 2019 taxes, and hopefully 15 and 17 will be paid here real soon. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And we'll move on to our executive secretary report with Nick.
Hi, everybody. Just Casey, real quick, does everyone have access to that document that has all the reports in it?
They should, but if not, then I guess just let me know and I'll make sure they get added.
Okay.
I was going off of whatever we had in our email list and kind of PAAE membership from last year, because we haven't finished stuff up from this year. So, you know, if anyone wasn't a member last year or if I accidentally missed somebody, you know, just let me know.
Okay. Just real quick, I've been working on memberships. I can't tell you the number of total memberships at this point off the top of my head, but it's in the ballpark of around 80 memberships. So they've been coming in, processing those forms. We have submitted our first round to NAAE, so that's taken care of. We'll be submitting round 2 at the end of the month. Also working on the website. got to spend a little bit of time on it last night. It's kind of fun and maybe a sickness at the same time, because you get in there and you start finding things that don't work, and you're like, oh, this will look good there. And I found out, and probably this is the wrong way, but I didn't read the directions and just started making changes, and it seems to work. So you'll start to see meeting minutes posted up on the website. I believe the executive board page is up to date completely. So a lot of exciting things going on there. And if anytime you guys need anything or reach out, let me know, and let me know how I can help. Thanks.
Right, if no one has any questions for Nick, we can move into our representative reports. And we'll start with Penn State.
Good afternoon, everyone. I guess I am representing Penn State as a whole this evening. We've got 8 student teachers going out in the spring. A few of you on the call are going to be getting one. This past weekend, we just had our first round of in-service, face-to-face in-service professional development programming, which is our first face-to-face event since pre-COVID. So that was pretty exciting. Beth had a great new and beginning fall retreat that was well attended. I think she had like 13 or so. And simultaneously, we had the first in-person kickoff event to our Breaking Down Biotech professional development program, which is spanning the entire 2020-2021 academic year. And we kicked that off with the Biotech Basics workshop. Both workshops were received really well, and teachers got a lot out of them and seemed to enjoy themselves as well. The fall 2020 Connect to Industry webinar series kicked off at the beginning of this month with Gary Klinger and Greg Krug of Lampire Biologic. There is a link to the recording of that session in this week's newsletter. Our session number 2 coming up on November 17th with Dr. Troy Ott with the Penn State College of Ag Sciences. We'll be talking about animal biotechnologies as it pertains to reproduction, growth, and health. And also in November, we will have our second direct touch point with the biotechnology program. We will have Mr. John Seifert discussing bioinformatics in the classroom. Pre-registration is required for both Connect to Industry series webinars as well as John's on November 5th. And you should have links to do so in the center report. We're always looking to recruit students to become future ag teachers. If you have one now or know of somebody who should be, you could refer them to Beth Matthey, BLM157@psu.edu, and get them enrolled in our Future Owls program, where we have numerous touch points and events throughout the year that they can engage.
We've tried to make them kind of look uniform, but at the same time be a little bit different. So each officer is taking 7 different items to begin with, or 7 different topics. And our plan, of course, is to do 7 more as soon as we possibly can. These actually took a lot longer than I thought they were going to take, so we're going to continue to work on them. But most of you now know that National Convention will be held virtually. If you just want your students to watch the sessions, and there will be an opening session followed by 6 sessions after that. If you just want them to watch the sessions, there is no charge to do that. They'll be sending out the links, and they'll be done through the website. But if you want them to have the full experience and be able to go to workshops and be able to visit the Blue Room and all the other things that go with convention, the expo halls and things of that nature, there is a charge. And of course, you can see here this listing, and most of you have already gotten an email on that, that it's based upon a tiered system. Like you can register up to 29 students for $50. So I think it's a pretty good deal to get your students involved in the National FFA Convention this year. Some things that are coming out on Keystone Degrees and State Stars. All of you should have gotten a couple of emails by now. I'm not going to share that information with you again. Just let me know if you haven't received it, and we will make sure that you get that information as quickly as possible. But in a nutshell, there will be 2 rounds of Keystone Degrees this year, one in the fall, one in the spring. Stars will all be done in the spring. So again, that information has been sent out twice. There are some training sessions for all teachers, and the first one actually takes place later tonight. If you miss that one, there are some other times that you can register to do those training sessions as well. Other things, of course, we have a American Star Farmer finalist from Pennsylvania. Miss McCara Anderson is a finalist in the Star Farmer category. So we wish her the best of luck. And of course, Jake Kinzer will be running for national office this year, and he's been working really, really hard. And his process will actually start this coming weekend. So they will be interviewing virtually for a whole entire week before the convention even starts. So again, if you want to drop Jake a note, it's jkinzer@paafa.org, and wish him the best of luck. It would be much appreciated. Midwinter Convention, we will do something virtually. I still don't know at this point what that's going to look like, but we do know that when you submit your Keystone Degree applications, we're asking for a photo to be submitted with them, as that will be part of that Midwinter Convention virtual celebration that we do in January in conjunction with the Farm Show. And I know that Carol Fay is on the call and will have some additional information for you about Farm Show very, very soon. ACES, SLSC, Summer Convention, gosh, folks, I don't know. At this point, I guess if I was a betting person and was going to wager, I would wager that we are not going to host ACES and SLSC in person. Summer Convention, probably not again, but I don't go that far yet. A lot of that will depend upon what housing says out of Penn State. I know the last conversation that John Seaman and I had with them, they said you might want to start exploring hotels. So I don't know that that's an option. And then plus at some point, we're going to try to find out from each of you and all your colleagues across the state is if we held it in person, would you even be allowed to come? So that's another big question. So still a lot of ifs, and we're just not sure yet. Again, rosters, affiliate fees, about half the schools have already paid their affiliate fees for this year. So we appreciate that. If you haven't, or if you haven't submitted that invoice for payment, we would just ask that you do that as soon as possible. And then, of course, the FFA rosters, you can submit those anytime between now and May 1st. So, and again, just please contact me for any chapter visits that you guys want to bring up. With that, I just want to say thank you and then share with you one other story real briefly. Last week, I was actually on a call with a lot of the CTSO directors from across the state. So FBLA, HOSA, FCCLA, all those alphabet soup CTSO organizations. And let me tell you, it was doom and gloom. I have never in my life been on a Zoom call that was so depressing, I think is the right word for it. In listening to the other CTSO directors talk about the fact that they're not doing anything, they can't do anything, they're not allowed to do anything, and their teachers don't want to do anything. And I thought, wow, we have an exclusive group of teachers, and we already knew that, but it sure came to light even more sitting and listening to those other CTSO directors. And I couldn't be more proud to be part of this agriculture education family, and kudos to each of you for what you're doing. It is not going unnoticed, and I made sure that those other CTSO directors knew that, you know what we've got going on in Ag Ed, you guys need to copy it because you guys are awesome and you've been doing a great job. Well, with that, I'll be still. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mike. Does anyone have any questions while we have Mike on the call? All right, if not, we will move on to the alumni. I know Sharice is not on the call. The only thing I have for that is just a reminder about their jacket campaign. Casey or Darla, I don't know if you have anything to add for the alumni.
That was all I was going to mention, so that sounds good to me.
All right, and then moving right along, I don't think Sarah Sparks is on either for the foundation. If anyone has anything for that.
I think Just I'll add, like, the golf outing was probably their most recent thing, and they said it was very successful. It was the first time I ever went to the golf outing to represent them. I just went for the meal. I don't golf. But I know some of the teachers missed out on actually attending this year because of obviously being during school, but they said it was very successful. So the other thing would be the website, but I have that later on to talk about. So we'll wait on that.
All right, thank you, Casey. And then moving right along for the Ag Ed Commission, I don't see Scott Sheely or even Honeycutt. Anyone have anything for that? I do not.
I'll chime in again here. I was at the last meeting for the commission, and I had mentioned in part of my report, like, there was actually a teacher panel with myself, Jody, Sharisa, and Tiffany Turrentine. So we all shared, like, what we're doing and how, like, it's affecting Ag Ed with this COVID-19 pandemic. And a lot of key points that were brought up from that was the need for, like, good rural broadband internet access, because it doesn't seem to matter where you're at, there's internet and connectivity issues. So that was something that hopefully maybe now that they're, like, aware of that, that's something that can continue to be a focus. And one of the other things that I brought up as far as the report to them was we had Representative Barb Gleim reach out to me about the ag mechanics curriculum revisions and things. And that was something we had, like, a workshop at last summer conference. And I think with the COVID-19, it kind of got put by the wayside. I know some Lancaster County teachers have been working on that with Tim Wentz from the Northeast Equipment Dealership. So that's something we're going to kind of continue to work on and hopefully make those curriculum revisions, NOCTI changes, whatever. We'll work with Penn State, we'll work with the commission, kind of whoever is interested. If you're really interested in being a part of that process, reach out to myself. I know John's doing a lot of work on Penn State's end to try to do, like, teacher trainings and whatnot to prepare you for, you know, getting that up to where industry is with more hydraulics, more diesel, you know, electrical type things, whatever might be that we need to do to make sure that we can prepare students for, you know, careers in ag mechanics and whatnot. So those are kind of two takeaways that I would maybe share with the entire group.
Thank you very much, Casey. And we do have Carol Fay, our SAE specialist, so you are up.
Hi, everybody. One thing that the Ag Ed Commission is doing, just to tag on to that report, they have passed and approved covering the stipend and the expenses for the SAE specialist position, which I think is pretty exciting. So in that transition period, I had submitted a bill to Brian Campbell for my expenses, and in the meantime, money came into the center to cover my expenses from the commission. So I reimbursed Brian for those expenses, and the commission has now paid me for that. So now you will see, I think, a change in your budget. That $5,000 in expenses is not going to be necessary to recoup for this position because the Ag Ed Commission is going to do that now. So it's been a pretty busy year. Several of you on the call have had American degree candidates this year, and those will be recognized during the convention pretty soon. This summer, I've been working on reviewing national proficiencies, and a couple weeks ago, I listened to the top 4 candidates in 2 of the areas, so I got to judge the finalists for national proficiency, and I'm excited to hear those results because I don't know the official results yet for that. So I've been Zooming with a lot of schools, helping kids start SAE projects, helping them fine tune their records for in preparation for the Keystone degree and so forth. So I have a Facebook page that is PA Friends Who Teach SAE. So if you're not hooked up with that Facebook page, log into that. I've been sharing a lot of ideas and thoughts and sometimes some crazy memes to make people laugh. but hook into that and you'll get some SAE ideas there. Some farm show updates. I've been working as the point person for FFA with the farm show, and you can see in that report, I have a list of all the different departments that the farm show is going to do virtually this year. So some of those have already been uploaded to the farm show website, and farm show is still working out some of the language and the details and some of the rules, and those will be posted soon. The pre-entry deadlines are coming up pretty quick. They're going to be in November, so you want to check through those rules. And if you have any questions about any of those rules or you're not sure about something, shoot me an email. And because we had to rewrite all of the rules and there may be something that we missed. So again, just shoot me an email about that. And again, thanks for all you do, you guys. And if there's anything I can do to help you, send me an email and we can maybe Zoom somehow.
Great, thank you very much, Carol. Cliff, I just saw your note in the chat about the GoPros from the commission. I didn't know if you want to talk about that before we move on to committee reports.
Just a note that they were talking about what could they do with some of the extra cash sitting there. And so they were trying to put together a package that would help teachers to do better virtual education. It was interesting to listen to the presenters, and a lot of them were doing virtual. On the other hand, when we interviewed out here in the West, it was amazing how many schools were actually doing in-person teaching or a hybrid where, you know, so many days a week with so many kids. So it's very hopeful what's happening in some of the ag programs, but hopefully you'll see something along the way that'll help to make it better. And I smile when I see some of this because we wanted stuff like that years ago, and it's like, well, this is the little push we needed to make it happen.
All right, thank you, Cliff. And we will move on to committee reports, and they did send out the email with all of the reports, so I'm not going to read them word for word. We'll just kind of highlight some of them, and you can read the full reports on your own time. So up first is member services, and I'll highlight a couple of things in Krista's report. The one was their run across PA. They announced those winners this summer, and they are planning on doing that again in 2021. And then they will also be doing the You Go points as well. And then does anyone have anything else for member services? All right, so for marketing committee, that one is next. The one thing they are working on is apparel and other promotional items for the 2020 and 2021 year. And then they're also working on an infographic that PAAE members can share with administrators or advisory committees, anything like that, to kind of promote PAAE and explain what it is. And then I know we do have David on the call for strategic planning.
Yeah, I just want to mention real quick that Allison Balmer actually did a lot of work on the survey that we had sent out for everyone to fill out, and we had a really good response rate, I thought. I mean, we had 52 people that responded, and then we had 4 PAAE non-members that responded. There's a lot of information in there that's in the packet that I don't have to read for all of you guys, but I think if you go through and look at it a little bit, there's going to be some things in there that are going to kind of guide or help to guide the future of the organization, the way we want some things to go and look at. But a lot of interesting information came out, and if anybody has any questions about it, we'll be glad to address it.
I might just add, because I think he's on here, I put it, the survey winner was Roy Campbell. So you're getting a, was it $20 or $25 Amazon gift card? Allison should be mailing that for you.
Sounds cool. Thanks.
All right, and if there are no questions for David, we'll move into public policy. And I'm the representative for that. The one thing we worked on was the form. If you have any public policy issues to submit to our committee, there's a uniform form that everyone can fill out to kind of make that process smoother. And then I know we have Carly Wright on here for the policies and bylaws.
So yeah, I'm new to the committee and learning what they're doing, but I did, as Casey mentioned, met with Casey and Darla earlier this month, and we talked about a plan to how to move forward with amending the policy and bylaws. The committee's on a lot of work. We're meeting with them November 9th to kind of review what they've done, make sure we're all on the same page and start moving forward. So hopefully we can have approved bylaws and policies by next summer conference.
Thank you, Carly. Up next, we have the Finance Committee and some of the things they worked on besides the budget. We discussed having a PAAE Zoom account, but Penn State has offered to serve as a host for our future meetings and anything. So we did not see the need for us to have our own at this time. Darla already touched on the tax issues. And then we also discussed for NAAE conference, the money we had set aside for that. Casey, I think that was later under new business, but I didn't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about it now. I just wanted to make sure it was something that was brought up at some point in time if we didn't do it during the committee reports. But since we had funds available and we said kind of, to just offer a member benefit here, to so to speak, we came up with a tiered approach to send virtually as many members as we could, which came out to 25 with what we have in the budget, to the virtual convention. So we offered it first to board members, since we do need to have delegates represent us for the convention. And then we next did committee chairs. This week, Janae sent it out to all the new and beginning teacher cohorts. And then next week, it'll kind of open up to anybody to fill any remaining slots that we have left, which I haven't talked to Janae to know exactly how many we do have left at this point in time. But again, this week's for the new and beginning teachers, since there's usually a lot of nice professional development. So we wanted to make sure that those teachers maybe had access to some professional development opportunities as new and beginning ones. But then we'll register by October 23rd. That way we can keep that $225 amount. And that's what we use to figure out sending 25 people. So that's kind of the typical registration rate. So we wanted to, just take care of that by that point in time so that we could stick with that budgeted amount. So next week, I'll probably, or Janae will be sending out an email to all PAAE members if there's any slots left, that you could fill out the Google form and register to attend that virtual conference. Any questions about that? Okay.
All right, thank you, Casey. And then our last committee report is professional growth, and we already touched on the virtual NAAE convention. That's something Janae and Casey have been working on. And then the only other thing for their committee is they're going to be pushing out the 2021 PAAE award nomination form pretty soon. I think that's been changed up a little bit for this year. And then moving right into our standing special committees, the summer conference will be in Wellsboro, summer 2021, July 12th through the 15th. I don't know if anyone has anything to add for that. I know they're busy planning that. We're kind of shifting it from, it's supposed to be this year, to still be in Wellsboro this coming summer. I know Doug is in charge of the scholarship committee. I don't think there's an update or a report from them. And then as far as the Sunshine Committee, the link is on the new updated PAAE website. Sarah Aldifer is the go-to person for that. So if you know of anyone who could use any sunshine, you can just go fill out that form, and Sarah Beth will make sure that something is sent from PAAE. Does anyone have anything to add for any of the committee reports? No, all right, we'll move right into old business. We already touched on this. I don't know if anyone has anything to add, but the website has been updated. If you haven't had the chance yet, make sure you check that out.
I would just chime in as if you haven't, like she said, check it out. If you notice anything that needs to be changed or updated or whatnot, please reach out to Nick, myself, or any other board members so that we can make sure that that gets updated. We want to try to do a better job of keeping that up to date and make sure it's user friendly for everybody.
All right, and then moving into new business, we already touched on the NAAE virtual convention and the tiered process they're using to fill those 25 spots we have. Any questions about that, you can send them to Casey Rice or Janae McMichael. They're the ones heading that up. And then under new business, we have the G Suite nonprofit account.
All right, so this is a whole, maybe a little backstory here with this. With the new website, there was also like an email account. So we had reached out to Sarah Sparks with the foundation to potentially go that route. But if we went that route, we would have to, pardon me, use the @paaffa.org domain name, which we didn't want to add to too much confusion. If everyone's kind of using the same thing, we thought maybe it would be easier if we had our own domain name, which then we were going to go through Google to do that and do kind of like a G Suite account so that we would have our own domain name. We thought we could do it as a nonprofit initially, but we are actually a 501 C6, not a C3. And that has to do with our ability to lobby and whatnot. So we actually don't qualify for the like free nonprofit version, which the business starter packages start at $6 a month. So we thought, well, we'll just go with that route and set up our own account. The reason for this is a couple different benefits. One, we'd have our own email system. So like once we collect emails from membership, we could create different groups like for each region. We could give email addresses to all the executive board members, regional vice presidents, etc. So if you need to send something out on like a regional basis, it would be much more convenient for our regional VPs and our executive board members to do so, because we'd be able to kind of keep track of those emails a little bit better, and it could be stored in that email account. The other aspect is all of like the G Suite features as far as documents and photos and forms and everything else. It would all be stored there. So it's kind of a way for us to like kind of just clean up and have everything in one nice place for everybody to access. Like even summer conference, you could have on the Google Drive a folder for summer conference for each year, and then everyone can see from year to year what was done in the years past, modify documents, and just make kind of everybody's lives, I think, a lot easier by having those features. So we thought for $6 a month, let's go ahead and do that. And Sarah Sparks has been putting in tons of legwork for us on this because she was kind of already doing it for the foundation and the FFA Association. So she's like, I'll just keep doing it. That's fine. We don't mind. Now I got an email, I guess it was yesterday or today, that kind of hitting another roadblock, unfortunately. Our @PAAE.org domain name is already taken. So we could have it for the grand total of $5,000 if we wanted to spend that money. But we can come up with a different domain name potentially and still go that route. It might not be $6. The one that she shared with me was doing @PAAE Association, and that would be $12 per month, I think, or was it $12 per year? I don't remember it without pulling up the email exactly, but I have to coordinate a little bit with Sarah to figure out what we can use. In the end, the cost is still very minimal to do that route, and I think it's going to, like I said, give us those benefits of communicating with the members much easier and having that like cloud storage aspect. I said, even like using Google Photos, then when we're doing like banquet presentations or anything like that, we can have all that stuff there. And then, like I said, for summer conference or board meetings or whatever, everything can be there from year to year and easily modified and changed and adapted. So if anyone has any questions or concerns about us pursuing that, again, for a minimal cost per year, we felt it was going to definitely benefit the organization. So, any questions? Okay. As soon as I hear further information from Sarah, I'll make sure everyone knows when we get that finally set up and running. Hopefully in the next month or so.
All right, thank you, Casey. And then if nobody has any other announcements, I think we are ready to pick a date for our spring regional meetings. And I'm going to hand that to Carly because she will be doing the spring meeting. I do know last year we did Tuesday, April 21st. I don't know if we want to stick with a Tuesday. What did Northern decide? Can I ask that?
They went with April 22nd. That's a Thursday.
So your corresponding date would be April 20th.
Does anyone have a problem with April 20th? Does that work for you, Carly, right? So do you want to go with April 20th, Tuesday?
Sounds good to me. I guess if something would change or whatever, we can always send out an email and figure it out. But why don't we maybe put that down in the books?
Right. Sounds good for me. So we'll do Tuesday, April 20th.
And I think right now we'll plan on them being in person, but obviously we'll see how things proceed here in the coming months.
Okay, so let's see how things go, and then if they are in person, we can pick a location.
One thing with picking a location, I know a lot of members have expressed the desire to at least have a virtual option. So I know was Western region usually like a Haas's, like maybe considering where your location would be and if we could do some sort of virtual option like with a projector and have Zoom up on the screen so at least those people can participate somehow. Something to think about when picking a location at least.
Right, sounds good, thank you. And then that is all I have unless anybody has any other announcements or comments or anything. And if not, thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions or anything, please reach out.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.
And Darla, I will mention, I saw Carly Ripple put in the chat a while ago that she had some emails from you.
I've been corresponding with her. I think
okay, because I also have gotten a couple.
Well,
just
here's what it is. It's because, like, again, whoever the powers that be are, like, they sense, like, who you're sending emails to. And, like, when we put, like, everyone in a group together from PAAE,
gotcha.
That's what it is. Because I've been getting them from Casey now.
So, I just assumed they weren't you, so.
Yeah, Casey's trying to get gift cards from me, Brian. Casey's trying to get me some gift cards.